And welcome everybody back to the Flying Doghouse. Time for a live stream. Well, I think we are good and situated here, so we'll wait until the scheduled bottom of the hour, and then we will jump in the airplane. In the meantime, we'll just kind of hang loose. And we are back in the Cessna 170B today. It's been a little while since I've been able to jump in the sim and have a fly. And we'll remember to cut the music off once we get going here. Looks like it's going to be a fun flight. Get to experience some 2024 clouds here. We are going to depart runway 20. And we'll maintain runway heading here for a few minutes. Yes, I just opened a soft drink. It wasn't an adult beverage, but it could have been, but it's not. It's actually a cheer wine. So we're going to fly up over the top of the home of cheer wine here in a minute. Oh, that might be kind of cool. Not familiar with the soft drink, do a Google search on cheer wine. It's quite good. It's a summertime refresher. It pairs perfectly with everything. So anyway, we're going to get going here in about 3 minutes. We are going to have a fly in the Cessna 170B. We'll take a peek at the electronic flight bag. For those of you who haven't explored any of that, we're going to take a quick peek here. And we're going to make our way up to Greensboro. So, from a VFR perspective, basically it's follow I-85 northbound. And if we needed an alternate, then the closest alternate would be Smith Reynolds in Greensboro. So that's a sensible choice. We'll cut the music off here in a minute. It's been a while since I've done a live stream. It's actually been a minute since I've been able to do any flying in the sim whatsoever. So we've got some stuff going on here in the doghouse, which has had our attention rightfully focused on that. So at any rate, this will be a good distraction for today. Those of you who have joined, welcome to the live stream. General Aviation Day today, Cessna 170B. I need to come up with a nickname for this airplane. It's the Flying Banana. It's just classic lines. It's a lot of fun. The flaps on this thing are like barn doors. It has a very springy undercarriage. Yeah, so we'll be mindful of that as we land in KGSO. We'll take a look at the winds to see which runway we'll land on. I am not going to file a formal IFR or VFR flight plan to do this. We're just going to establish a good altitude and make our way up to Greensboro. Starting in about a minute. I guess we can go ahead and jump into the cockpit and I can kill the music and say goodbye to the theme song. Alright, there we go. Let's switch to the sim here. And here we are, sitting at the runway at the end of runway 20 here at Concord Regional, my hometown airfield now. All right, so here we are in this lovely little flying museum piece. I just love the interior of this plane, and the yoke is just priceless. Anyway, it's got some modern amenities built in it as well. So you do have the ability to pop up a map. So we'll do that. Not a lot in terms of startup procedures for this. It's relatively straightforward. But if you haven't used the electronic flight bag in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, you haven't really paid it much never mind. It's quite good, and I actually mentioned that it was quite good in the State of 24 video that we published earlier. The default keyboard shortcut for the tablet is the tab key, and we're going to go into Flight Planner. Alright, so it's going to pop up the map. So a couple of things. One that you might not have futzed with very much is you can change the orientation of the tablet, which I think is a nice touch. So we can change it to horizontal, or what I would refer to as landscape, landscape versus portrait orientation. And you can also change the size of the display of the tablet, so you can go from small to medium to large. And that'll get the job done. So let's pick something sensible. Let's do that. So if you hadn't explored that, that's available to you. The basic flight information. It's going to show ground speed, your GPS position, and your track, and then your ETE. You can have the map display nearby airports, which is a nice touch. And then you have map settings. And we're not going to go through all of these. The video would be much too long. But I invite you to go in and explore. So you do have the ability to pick different types of displays for the map. I guess that's worth showing. So terrain highlight and then satellite view, if that's what you prefer. I'm going to leave it on default for the video. Weather, which is really one of the things that you might want to explore inside the tablet. So you can have it show radar, wind, your METAR report. You can also turn on different kinds of waypoints here. So you got VOR and NDBs, waypoints if you want to display them. And let me take care of something here real quick. All right, there we go. There's some noise going on in the background. All right, to the flight planner. All right, so our departure airport is Concord Regional, KJQF, and we're going to depart runway 20. And our destination airport is KGSO. You can put that in as well. All right, so we are at KJQF or Concord Regional, and if you go to information, then you have several different tabs you can choose here. And again, I think this is pretty doggone intuitive. The weather is a nice touch. It will display the current METAR report and then give you a visual representation of it below, which I think is a very, very nice touch. So we've got broken clouds today, visibility at 8 miles, and calm wind. And I can tell you from looking out my workspace here, that is absolutely true. It is no wind at all. So welcome to the land of heat and humidity today, I guess, in Concord. Anyway, I just wanted to point this out. If you haven't taken any time to explore this, it's definitely worth a peek. It's also going to let you know what recommended runways are active for the airports. So it's recommending 02, but there's no wind. So we're just going to take our standard departure here and leave Concord. All right, so let's get that out of our way. We'll press the tab key, check our control surfaces, make sure they're working. Do an outside check too, looks good. Not really a lot of surprise in terms of flying the 170B off the ground. The tail's going to lift up somewhere between 32 and 40 miles an hour. Be careful with the with your rudder inputs, and you should be fine. So we're just going to run it up. And if you're just joining the live stream, welcome. We just did a run through of some of the functionality in the tablet. We'll pop it back up as we continue to move across. But we're going to depart Concord Regional here and make our way up to KGSO. So we're in the eastern United States. See if the sim's going to cooperate with me today. No. And we're off the ground. Alright, so I have plenty of RAM and resources in my GPU, and every once in a while I'll get that error message, or that notification message anyway. Alright, so we're making our way, runway heading, departing Concord. Jump outside the plane. Take a look at the old bird, the flying banana. And we'll make our way over Concord Mills Mall here. So if you just watched the birthday celebration video that was published, this was going to feel mighty familiar. At any rate, for those of you who are watching who are subscribers, we appreciate you subscribing to the channel. If you haven't done so, we would love to have you as a subscriber since you're here. And we're going to do some more content, hopefully later in the week this week. Alright. Turning our way downwind here. And we will start making our way up to Greensboro. So for part of this, we're just going to fly. I'm not going to yak the whole time. And if you have subscribed to the channel, you certainly have access to the chat. And I do have name tags turned on today. Excuse me. I was flying last night in 2024 very briefly just to blow off some steam, and the sim was behaving quite nicely. Good frame rate. Very crisp and clean. I'm not necessarily seeing that today. But we'll see how it behaves as we progress across. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we had some events going on at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and happened to be out in the yard, and a flight of 4 A-10s went over my house. So we get to see some hardware periodically during the year. Haven't seen A-10s in a minute. But that was kind of cool. Doing their national anthem flyover for the race festivities that were going on. Alright, so right now we are above I-85, which runs north-south. And it's a major highway through the Carolinas, both north and south, and into Georgia. And then I believe I-85 continues further to the south into Alabama. It's a highly traveled area. It's a major commuter route for folks who live in the Charlotte area, at least north and south of the city, I guess. I'm going to jump back on the plane here. Guess we could be good citizens to turn our navigation lights on. So as I mentioned, I did make this flight yesterday. I turned on live weather from 2 days ago, and it was rough. It was not a day to be up and about in the 170B, that's for sure. But I was just really enjoying the rendering and in the sim of the atmospheric conditions. I need to turn on thunderstorms and have a go at that, and something a little bit more robust in terms of airframe. Anyway, I'm just curious, for those of you who are watching the stream, if you do have access to the chat window, let me know if you have this in your hangar and what you think of it. I love this plane. I flew it quite a bit in 2020, but as of this week, I had not flown it at all in 2024, so really just trying to get to know the plane again. It's incredibly stable. Really, the only tricky part is the springy nature of the undercarriage, and you really do have to, at least for me, take a little bit of a different approach in terms of trying to set this down. Wings nice and parallel to the runway and drop it down onto the mains. You definitely don't want a three-point plant this. It will bounce like a basketball. But if you're using a different technique, I'd love to hear about it. We're just going to kick back here for a few minutes, and we're just going to enjoy the scenery. And we can get ourselves back on route. Oh, goodness. All right, there we go. Got our nose pointed here toward the reservoir in Kannapolis. So we'll be in good shape. So you can zoom in and out of the map using the mouse wheel. And looks like Server's not wanting to blast data across. We'll let that catch up. So we are still inside the Charlotte controlled airspace here. So real world stuff, we would have requested flight following, right? And at this altitude, we would have needed some additional clearance from clearance. So our next airfield that's of any size or consequence really is the airport at Salisbury. It's home to I believe there's an Army, it's either an Apache or a Black Hawk helicopter squadron that's based there. So periodically we hear, rotors chopping, which is very cool. Alright, I seem to have settled out here at about a 4,000 foot altitude. Looks good as far as the cloud base is concerned. And I did get us pointed in the right direction, which is always good. And you can see the airspace around Greensboro. And then also there's an airspace surrounding Smith Reynolds. And we'll press tab and move that out of our way for now. Alright, I see people jumping in and out of the live stream. Welcome. We are having a fly in the Cessna 170B, and we're flying from Concord Regional to Greensboro. And we're VFRing our way. And we're taking a peek at using the EFB and its map. Right now we are probably about 5 or 6 miles from Kannapolis, North Carolina, to be off to our 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock zone, and the large body of water in front of us is the reservoir for Kannapolis. And we are now in the afternoon and evening thunderstorm zone here in the central part of North Carolina. So the afternoons are like a box of chocolate. You know you're having chocolate, but you're not quite sure what you're going to get. And this is a relatively short flight. It's about 70 nautical miles, maybe 80 nautical miles between Concord and Greensboro. And KGSO is quite active. There's National Guard activity out of that space. There's for 60, 70 years, significant amount of commercial aviation taking place there. Also, a number of flight schools located there, where I took the bulk of my lessons. And it was quite intimidating to me as I'll call myself a wee young lad, because I was on my first landing. So for one of the approaches into Greensboro, you are relatively close to Colonial Pipeline and all of the tank farms that are surrounding the airfield. So the funny story that I tell, and it's definitely not a fisherman's tale, was my flight instructor was having a grand old time laughing at me because I was not going to get anywhere near stall speed. I told him that I did not want to become human barbecue. So, you know, all those irrational thoughts kind of popping into your head. At any rate, I got a good call sign out of it anyway. I'll save that detail for later. And if you want something that's an external app, I could definitely recommend to you using Little Nav Map. Do a Google search on that one. We use it for flight planning and creating our .plm files for folks over in Virtual Flight Online. And you can plan different kinds of flights with it. It's very, very intuitive. But Microsoft has also added the ability in 2024 with the online flight planning tool to be able to share those flight plans with Xbox users, which I think is definitely important to shout that out, so they don't have to manually try to deal with waypoints. They get the flight plan. And well, maybe we can dive deeper into that in another flight. Okay, this is High Rock Lake. Quite busy. It's summertime partying and fishing and water skiing season. Jet skiing. And I am wandering around a little bit away from our flight plan just to give folks who aren't familiar with this part of the U.S. sort of a sense of the geography here. It's gorgeous. It's hot and humid during the summer. Wintertime, we usually don't get snow. But when we get it, we get hammered with it. But those episodes these days are few and far between. Alright, see if we can get the tablet back up. There we are. Making our way. Woo-hoo-hoo. Alright, check Greensboro's weather here. VFR conditions, just like Concord, looks like same amount of visibility, and it's showing a few clouds and 4-knot wind at 280. So that should not be an issue for us. Again, I think the interface here is very well done. So if you're flying to an airport and you're not familiar with the runways and such, you can get information about that. it will tell you the recommended active. So runway 32. Ah, yes, good old runway 32. We'll definitely get to reminisce about the barbecue incident. So I think I mentioned I've had this airplane now for a year. I flew it fairly regularly in 2020. Not necessarily in group flights, but my own personal tearing around. Now, it looks like we have an F-18 on the ground. And we might have some fighter escorting going on here later. Never know when somebody like me is going to wander into a temporary flight restriction and need some escorting, along with a number to call. Get a different shot here of the flying banana. So recent events have brought us to be traveling up and down I-85 quite a bit. So I enjoy flying this route. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so off to our 9 o'clock is Davidson County Airport, which is right off of I-85, which is where our F-18 friend is parked. That's quite interesting. The approach lights for Lexington, they happen to coincide with either side of the interstate. So periodically you'll see an airplane either on finals or on departure. And here's I-85 again. We're not going to fly all the way over to the airfield at Davidson. We'll continue on our way. So I am planning on doing a whole series of cross-country flights to help folks who have not flown ILS approaches to get comfortable with that. We did 2 videos on VOR use. which I hope took some of the mystery out of that for folks who watched it. Every day's a learning day. We're actually now flying up across there's a North Carolina Vietnam War Veterans Memorial here off of I-85. And it's kind of interesting that north and southbound 85 in this particular area crisscross each other. And it's been interesting to watch this interstate evolve over at least a stretch of my existence here on the planet. And in most places now it's 4 lanes northbound and southbound. All right. To our 2 o'clock would be Thomasville, North Carolina. And in years past, renowned for furniture manufacturing. It's called the Chair City. So in the town square in Thomasville, there's a huge chair. Kind of interesting. Definitely made an impression on me as a small kid. There we go. There's some local North Carolina geography trivia for you. Okay, we're at about 3,000 feet, which is a good altitude for us for our run into KGSO. Pop the map back up. And we're almost to the controlled airspace. So we definitely would need to be yapping on the radio. Okay, let's check the weather again. Still 4 knots at 280. Just make sure we got the most current. 7 knots, 240. Alright, very cool. Alright, hopefully jumped on the flight live stream. You learned a little bit about what's going on with the EFB. Lots of things to explore. Typically we just kind of jump in and go do our thing, but there's some nice functionality there. Fuel, weight, and balance. The flight planning and the weather, I think, is a nice touch. All right, let's turn our way away from Thomasville here. make our way over to KGSO. If memory serves me, off our nose is, I think this is High Point Lake. We used to do boat drag racing on this lake. I remember that as a kid. That was quite impressive. Alright, so we're almost there. Again, we're featuring the EFB and some of its settings and some of the cool stuff you can get at your fingertips right inside the sim. I guess one of the things that I did not mention earlier is that you can also pop this out into a separate window and drag it to a second monitor. And my recording software doesn't like it when I do that because it would just record the tablet and then that's all you get to see. I need to figure out what's going on with that. However, all that being said, it's quite good. And you do have control over orientation and size. There are definite... you definitely have control over some of the visuals that actually appear on the map. Alright, we're almost High Point Lake here. That's the tab key, get rid of that. So High Point is another place in North Carolina that heavily involved in the in furniture manufacturing in years past. Coming up over golf course here. Oh, I can't remember the name of the golf course. They used to play an LPGA tour event on this course. I'm sure I'll remember it after the flight's over. That's the way an older brain works, I guess. Alright, we're closing in on some geographical proximity to family, so I'll waggle my wings, but they won't see me. So I won't. Alright, so we're now going to turn downwind here. And we have the airfield in sight. Winds are currently 221 at 7. Did quite a bit of earth moving when they rebuilt the new runways here at Greensboro. actually the newest of runways. Used to be home to the Sheraton Hotel. And it was a road too. So anyway, Honda Jet is located here. Boom Aviation also has a presence along with FedEx and UPS. There's my tank farm friends. Hi fam. Yeah, this is what was giving me great concern. And it's reasonably rendered here in the sim. This is actually Interstate 40. Which runs from the coast of North Carolina all the way across the United States to California. Oh, there we go, more tank farming. Extend here, and then we'll do a short base leg and then turn to finals. Go ahead and slow down the flying banana a little bit. Get back in the cockpit here. Get ourselves into the white arc and go ahead and start dropping some flap. Get ourselves configured and slowed down here. There we go, one nice flap in. And I remember the, actually like it was yesterday, the anxiety that I felt deploying flaps and, you know, all the fun noise and things that creates. So, I guess I was a little paranoid as a student pilot. However, in aviation, a little paranoia is a good thing. Alright, so memory serves 962 feet-ish on the stated altitude for the for KGSO. So I don't think we're too high. And flaps 3. So the stall warning siren will go off around 45. Let's just go ahead and get ourselves slowed up. We'll get the burn door all the way out now. And we're continuing to burn off some altitude here. So here we go. Here's our tank farm. brace for flashback. And I really don't like our runway picture here, but I'm not going to go around, I don't think. I might. It might be too fast. That's one of the things that I see folks struggle with in the sim is not not quite paying enough attention to your surrounding situational awareness, proximity to other pilots. But every day's a learning day, right? So again, one of the things that I have learned about the 170B is flat approach angle are a little low, and now we're add a little more power here. Got a bit of a crosswind here, but this should be entertaining. Well, with that crosswind, I'll take that. Given I haven't flown this in a minute. Alright, here we go. Off to the taxiway. Alright, we made it. We made it to KGSO. Thanks for watching the live stream. Again, I hope you learned something about the EFB. It's quite useful. One of my favorite things in Flightsim 2024. All right, I'm going to leave it here. Please like and subscribe. Love to have you as a channel member. More content to come. Thanks for being along. As always, I hope everybody is keeping well. Cheers, y'all.